Hello, everybody. This is Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where we watch old 16mm films, and that was some German soldiers on horses. I am of German descent, but I don't speak German, so I don't know what they were talking about. Maybe one of you can chime in and figure out. Let's see. Every day, it seems like I shift a little bit where the laptop is pointing, and so maybe someday someone will be able to take all the samplings and create a 360 view of our dining room. Behind me, of course, is a blow up of the Clown Thanksgiving painting that I gifted to Found Footage Festival after we made them dress as clowns and feed us Thanksgiving dinner. All right, but that's a beautiful work of art, right? So let's figure out, what are the sources of art. Like, let's watch this film called Sources of Art and see if it applies to this amazing clown pilgrim painting. Enjoy.
Art is one of man's oldest means of expression. The artist looks at the world around him and translates what he sees and what he feels into visual form. If his world was hungry, his art expressed his need for food. Sketches found on an ancient cave wall tell the story of a successful hunt. Where man found beauty in his world, he put beauty into his art. He arranged, composed, and sometimes his art was more beautiful than reality. Art can also express fear and mystery, superstition or evil. Nature is the starting point for many artists. Water lilies inspired the French Impressionist Monet. Picasso simplified flowers in a way to suit himself. Mountains and lightning probably suggested the pattern for this weaving. The young artist's world is less sophisticated than the world of the mature artist, but they both choose from their environment things important to them. A boy paints his family. His neighborhood, the supermarket, a field trip to the farm, perhaps to the zoo, or maybe to the harbor. No two artists ever see the same world in the same way. Still, there are basic elements of which all art is composed. These basic elements are line, color, shape, and texture. A line may be or curved, thick or thin, short or long. A line has direction. It can go up and down or from side to side. A line encloses space and can show motion. The Dutch artist Van Gogh composed paintings with exciting lines. The sharp bend of the elbows of these dancers create opposing diagonals, calling attention to the center figure. The 16th century artist Dürer used only thick and thin lines to tell a story in this engraving. Lines lend an abstract feeling to a still life. Color is a powerful element of art. It can create many moods. Mystery, excitement, quietness, serenity. Color can be cool or it can be warm. Cool and warm colors may be found in a single painting. Shape is important to the artist. This modern sculpture brings to mind dinosaurs, cave entrances, and human forms. This beautiful shape in concrete looks like a great bird swooping down. Repeated, it forms an interesting shape of its own. Repetition of shape forms the interior of the building. A rhythm of shapes forms a modern building. A bridge is also composed of shapes. The artist uses shapes of various sizes in painting. His sensitive organization of form and color results in a pleasing picture. Paper cut into shapes creates a lively abstraction. Fish shapes interested a Chinese artist of long ago. He caught the quick movement of fish in this ancient scroll painting. Texture adds interest to shape. The surface of a plant has texture. Dried mud has both texture and pattern. Small dots of color create texture in a painting by Seurat. Thick brush strokes give this painting an interesting surface. The artist communicates his feelings through the use of line, color, shape, and texture. All of these elements may be present in a single statement. The artist tells us where he lives, how he feels about things, how he feels about people.
No clue. Is this somebody who painted their family? Is this somebody who saw a painting or saw a picture of people eating and then they decided to make them into clowns? There's so many questions, and this was found at a thrift store, so we have no idea. No idea. Here's another film that is fascinating. This is from the Prelinger Archive, and it is. I don't think I've shown it. Let me check just to make sure I haven't shown it. So I have a spreadsheet that tells me I have not shown it. All right. So this captures Greenwich Village, New York, 1969, through the lens of fine cotton-made fashions, and it purports that Greenwich Village is a country, rural place in the bustle of New York City. It's ludicrous. Enjoy.
In the shadows of modern Manhattan, surrounded by glass and steel, yet only a subway stop away from the seething city, with its crowds of people, hectic workday schedules, and the office routines, lies the sleepy village called Greenwich. A suburban oasis where one can gather thoughts and enjoy the wonders of nature, or saunter through winding streets. Among handsome churches inlaid with antiquity, and houses weathered as wrinkled crones, and through courtyards stippled with the light and shade of centuries. Here, thousands of people live in an atmosphere much like the one they left in their own hometown. Village life is cosmopolitan, yet relaxed and carefree. Pleasure is found in just being alive, suburban living on an urban landscape. A time to pursue personal pleasures, to find self-expression in comfortable clothing. The tempo is leisurely, and cotton's casual appeal is in step with carefree living. Worldly worries are laid aside, and time is spent on decorating the home, making repairs, minding the laundry, browsing through antique shops for a possible bargain, or discovering a rare volume in a quaint bookstore. Or shopping in the world-famous Bleecker Street Market, alive with the carnival colors of old world piazzas. With the chores complete, it's time for a few relaxing moments in one of the many popular sidewalk cafes. Freed from conservative business attire, the modern villager finds comfort in cotton corduroy, the fabric woven for the now generation. As ruggedly appealing as the great outdoors, yet sophisticatedly shaped for the modes of cosmopolitan life. Greenwich Village has long been a clothes capital. From the early days of our country, village styles have been avant-garde, always a step or so before their time. Contemporary as today, new as tomorrow. For casual wear, carefree cotton has been the fabric most preferred by designers for this most creative of communities. Night falls, creating a world of contradiction, of paradoxes in life. The tourist is lured by a sense of adventure in losing himself in a modern Casbah, while the resident prefers an evening spent at a theater off Broadway, where the actors and audience share their common experiences after each performance. Or an early dinner in a favorite hideaway. Or going to a party in the garret of a bohemian friend.
By the tree, come right in and spend some time. Supper's on for free. Walk right in and stay a time. You're welcome here with me. Where a man once was, but is no more. His past ain't looking for only things he left behind. I'll tell you and shine the old times and walk right in and spend some time. Supper's on for free. Walk right in and stay a time. You're welcome here with me.
Like any other small community, Greenwich Village has its town square. Once a field for bloody Indian battles and aristocratic duels, hangings and potters' burials, Washington Square is now an island retreat. Here on Sundays, villagers gather for idle pleasure. Towering high above this pastoral setting is the American Arc de Triomphe, perpetuating in stone the ideals of the father of our country. Washington Arch stands as a monument for all free men. In the old row houses just north of the square lived the 19th century aristocracy. behind these ancient gates, in leather-bound libraries and French-style drawing rooms, life was gay and frivolous. Today's high-fashion cottons reflect the past in designer collections inspired by the young romantic look. Couturier cottons, frilled, ruffled, edged in lace. Delicate feminine cottons, recreating an era of fantasy, of pure coquetry, of sheer romance. Cotton organdies, laces, and velveteens, resplendently radiating the nostalgia of times past. Greenwich Village is endowed with a great sense of history. Its brownstones, its garrets, cellars, and courtyards have been home to literary masters such as Mark Twain, Herman Melville, and Edna St. Vincent Millay, Washington Irving, Edgar Allan Poe, and O. Henry. Of President Monroe, patriot Alexander Hamilton, inventors Thomas Edison, Robert Fulton, and Samuel Morse, artists Thomas Hart Benton and Winslow Homer, and others who have contributed to the American heritage. Today, Greenwich Village is the postmark for many countrified cosmopolitans, people who prefer small-town casualness to rigid metropolitan dress for them and their suburban counterparts. Manufacturers and designers work around the clock to provide the cotton sportswear and leisure wear they demand for the country life.
So this is very similar to that other film that I've shown on here a couple of times, Replay, which shows kind of man-on-the-street interviews with people who don't like counterculture of today, and yet then show that, well, really, there was counterculture in the 20s. So counterculture in the United States isn't that different. But also, it's sponsored by the Arrow Shirt Company. And so it's really, it has a bunch of dirty hippies in it, but it also has people like hippies wearing Arrow shirts. So it's really weird. It's such a strange thing, the lens of... All right, so what do we got? All right. This is a film from the Craig Baldwin that we scanned. This is Focus on Entertainment, the 1950s, 1950 to 1959. And I hope that I don't get dinged to where they interrupt the stream. But we'll see. We'll go for it. Here we go. Enjoy.
On January 1st, 1950, there were only 3 million television sets in America. But in that year, we bought another 7 million and made the big shift from radio to television. The first coast-to-coast coaxial cable was completed in 1951, and 40 million Americans watched President Truman speak at the Japanese Treaty Conference in San Francisco. In the first happy days of television, we were hypnotized by old Hopalong Cassidy movies. Friday Night Fights from New York, Howdy Doody, and Kukla, Fran, and Ollie. But our favorites were the weekly variety shows, like the Texaco Theater with Milton Berle, Arthur Godfrey and his friends, Toast of the Town with Ed Sullivan, and Your Show of Shows with Sid Caesar and Imogene Coca. In the 50s, nightly network newscasts became an established part of programming. John Cameron Swayze, Douglas Edwards, Huntley Brinkley, and Walter Cronkite were some of our early TV reporters. And Edward R. Murrow took television news out of the studio and into the world with his See It Now series. The first news event to captivate the whole country was the Senate investigation of organized crime. Chaired by Senator Estes Kefauver, the televised hearings in 1951 presented the first live look at the mafia and government ties with the mob.
Things you've done that you can speak off to your credit as an American citizen. If so, what are they?
Paid my tax.
Television had its own crime investigation when it was discovered that several of the big money network quiz games were rigged. Charles Van Doren was the most famous of the phony contestants. During the 50s, the situation comedy came into its own. Jackie Gleason and Art Carney in The Honeymooners were the biggest hit. The comedy superstar of the 50s was Lucille Ball. Beginning in 1951, I Love Lucy rated high with audiences every year. Most television drama during the decade was presented live. Programs like Actors Studio, Studio One, Kraft Television Theater, Robert Montgomery Presents, and the U.S. Steel Hour pioneered new plays, actors, and directors, and gave television some of its finest hours. Some TV dramas were filmed.
I delivered the message. Now what?
Now let's check the second message.
Ready?
Mum, the doctor's deodorant discovery now contains M3.
Television advertising in the 50s was inexpensive, so American business turned away from radio, and Madison Avenue began to bombard us with
Use Ajax, boom, boom, the foaming cleanser. Boom, 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 boom. Gets things clean just like a whiz. You'll stop paying the elbow tax
When you start cleaning with Ajax.
So use Ajax, boom, boom, the foaming cleanser. Boom, 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 boom. Floats the dirt right down the drain. Boom, 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 boom.
I'm a guy who likes to work on my car. I like to take it apart and put it back together. I get to working on it and forget where I am, what time it is. I even forget to eat.
You don't forget to smoke, though.
I always smoke when I work. They go together.
Why Marlboro?
I like things that are well designed. This box is interesting and practical.
Would you recommend Marlboro to your friends?
I already have.
New Marlboro. Filter, flavor, flip-top box.
Honestly, I hate the way these paper napkins keep sliding off your lap.
Madam?
Gracious, now I'm seeing things.
Oh, no. I'm Manners the butler, and I wish you'd try Kleenex table napkins. They won't slide off your lap.
Really? Why, it's true. Why, they cling like cloth.
And Kleenex table napkins are strong enough to last through the whole meal without shredding.
You'll wonder where the yellow went when you brush your teeth with Pepsodent. The taste is new with Pepsodent. Get some today. You'll wonder where the yellow went when you brush your teeth with Pepsodent. Pepsodent, Pepsodent.
By the end of 1950, movie attendance was down 72%. Sure, we had our superstars, like Marilyn Monroe, Marlon Brando, and James Dean. But the biggest box office smashes were low-budget mutation movies.
Hi, once again, this is Dick Clark welcoming you back to American Bandstand. This should be about part number 3 of music and fun and frolic and special guest stars, leading off with Bobby Helms and Jacqueline.
Never in the history of the United States, a monster of such size and power.
It's fantastic. It's unbelievable. Things like this just don't happen.
The thing that went wrong in the secret atomic laboratory afflicted him with the most hideous curse ever visited on man. One touch of the sun's bright rays transformed him into the reptilian Jekyll and Hyde monstrosity who couldn't control his lust to kill.
What I saw you wouldn't believe. Watch men who deal in death, meet and fight. The invincible
First satellite creature to impregnate man with its chromosomes.
It's true. I can feel it inside. If you're driving a lonely road, you're as good as dead.
7 hours and his blood is still alive.
Something's wrong. I'm falling too fast.
In 1950, American scientists were perfecting color television, tranquilizers, and Xerox copying machines. Amateur inventors all over the world were creating gadgets galore to make our lives easier and more fun. There was the radio-controlled golf caddy. And the robot lawnmower to make our suburban life even more mobile. One ingenious angler built a flying boat as a way around or over traffic jams on rivers and lakes. And a company in Ohio considered marketing an inflatable plane that could fold up and fit in the trunk of a car. There were many advances in flying in the early 50s, like the world's largest jet helicopter, built by Howard Hughes, and radical new turboprop fighters that could take off and land vertically. By mid-decade, Boeing was testing our first jetliner, the 707. And our new intercontinental B-52s were in fail-safe positions all over the world. In 1957, Major John Glenn flew a Navy Crusader coast to coast in 3 hours and 23 minutes, reaching speeds of better than 1,000 miles an hour. In 1959, the Navy X-15 rocket plane flew at 3,000 miles an hour and altitudes of 300,000 feet. The X-15 was designed to carry our first astronauts into space, and at the end of the decade, test pilots were practicing moon landings on the desert. The most dramatic medical advance of the 50s was the Salk vaccine that immunized us against polio. when a bill was presented for Congress to provide free Salk vaccine to all children, Mrs. Ovita Culp Hobby, Ike's Secretary of Health, was horrified. She called the plan socialized medicine through the back door. Other medical news was not so good. In 1953, smoking was first linked to cancer and heart disease. Cigarette consumption dipped for 2 years, but resumed its rise in '55 after the tobacco industry pumped millions into TV advertising for new filter tips.
Promenade straight down the pike. It's time right now for a lucky strike. Yes, for smoking that you're bound to like, you just can't beat a lucky strike.
The first hydrogen bomb explosion in 1952 opened a new era of deathmanship. Since 1945, when the first A-bomb was exploded, American scientists had argued the morality of developing super bombs, perhaps 1,000 times more destructive than those dropped on Japan. The decision to create an arsenal of new nuclear weapons was made right after Russia exploded her own atom bomb in 1949. High on the Pentagon shopping list was the atomic cannon, an awesome piece of hardware that was semi-retired when ground-to-ground missiles became operational at the end of the decade. And in 1954, Mrs. Eisenhower christened the Nautilus, the world's first atomic submarine. And in 1958, the ship sailed submerged from Hawaii to Great Britain, under the North Pole. Not all atomic research of the 50s was military. Since Hiroshima, scientists were experimenting with nuclear energy as an alternative to oil, gas, and coal. In 1957, an atomic power plant, the pilot model for 3 Mile Island, was proudly unveiled to the public. Other visionaries were not so certain that the public would ever accept nuclear power. Fearful of another oil cutoff after Iran's refineries were nationalized in '51, scientists began to experiment with solar batteries. On October 4th, 1957, Soviet scientists shocked the world by orbiting a Sputnik around the Earth. We were worried that if the Russians could launch a baby moon in outer space, they could certainly reach America with intercontinental missiles. President Eisenhower assured us there was no missile gap.
Speed of progress in the satellite project cannot be taken as an index of our progress in ballistic missile work. Our satellite program has never been conducted as a race with other nations. I consider our country's satellite program to be well designed and properly scheduled to achieve the scientific purposes for which it was initiated.
In 1958, America finally launched a 30-pound satellite into orbit. And as the decade ended, Russia and the US set their sights on the moon. In 1950, Senator Joe McCarthy charged that our State Department employed 200 known communists. McCarthy couldn't produce a single name, But this irresponsible accusation launched a 4-year witch hunt that ruined hundreds of innocent people. Since the start of the Cold War, many Americans were paranoid about communism at home. The government investigated 3 million federal employees. Teachers in some states were forced to sign loyalty oaths or lose their jobs. In Indiana, a member of the Textbook Commission claimed that Robin Hood glorified the Marxist philosophy because he robbed the rich to give to the poor. Senator McCarthy flourished in the Cold War atmosphere of suspicion and fear. Without evidence, he accused some of our best artists, entertainers, and government leaders of being communists, and convinced many of us that Reds in America controlled our minds and our lives. When he attacked the Army and their counsel, Joseph Welch, he went too far.
I get the impression that while you are quite an actor, you play for a laugh. I don't think you have any conception of the danger of the Communist Party.
Until this moment, Senator, I think I never really gauged your cruelty or your recklessness. If it were in my power to forgive you for your reckless cruelty, I would do so. I like to think I'm a gentleman, but your forgiveness will have to come from someone other than me.
May I say that Mr. Wells talked about...
Following the Army hearings, McCarthy was condemned by the Senate and became a national embarrassment. By 1954, most Americans were trying hard to disown him.
My name's Jimmy Stewart. Before I came home, I heard a lot of things that made me worry a little as to whether this was still the same America I grew up in. Of course, I wondered when I heard about a couple of crackpots here and there that wanted to make things different. Then I heard from
During the McCarthy era, white Americans experienced violation of their civil liberties for the first time. They didn't like it. As soon as it was safe, many whites joined liberal causes and campaigned for political freedom.
I joined because I'm pretty grateful for the kind of country that gave me my break. And I've learned that all Americans are the same kind of people.
Shirley Temple.
At school, we were all taught the value of teamwork. Well, good grief, America was built by all of us working together. And our whole future depends on you helping him, and you helping her, and all of us helping each other. I'm for it.
Eddie Cantor.
You know, the most wonderful sound in the world is the laughter of a free people. No tyrant in history ever had a sense of humor or a sense of tolerance. Here in America, we have both. Let's keep them. Let's join the brotherhood.
Jennifer Jones.
One nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's America. And I love America. I know you do, too.
Katharine Hepburn.
Hate is a disease. People who talk hate and people who organize for hate are worse than typhoid carriers. If we want to keep our democracy healthy, we must wipe out this disease.
And here's Edward G. Robinson, who will read you the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to this basic ideal of my country. Fair play for all. I pledge myself to keep America free from the disease of hate that destroyed Europe. In good heart, I pledge unto my fellow Americans all of the rights and the dignities I desire for myself.
For black Americans in the early 50s, there were few enforced rights and even fewer dignities. At the start of the decade, blacks still didn't exist as people for many white Americans. But in 1954, the Supreme Court ruled that blacks must be treated as equals, starting with public education. The 9 justices ruled unanimously that racial segregation in classrooms was unconstitutional and that all states must proceed with deliberate speed to integrate their public schools.
The decision caused a furor, especially in the Deep South. But the next year, the justices extended their desegregation orders even further to include public golf courses, swimming pools, playgrounds, and public parks. In 1957, Governor Orville Faubus sent the Arkansas National Guard to stop the first blacks from entering Central High School in Little Rock. President Eisenhower federalized the Arkansas Guard and sent in the 101st Airborne to make sure integration kept moving. By 1958, many educators felt that the only people who cared about what went on in classrooms were Southern blacks trying to get in and Southern whites trying to keep them out. At liberal arts colleges, at least, students were more into campus life than calculus. And being a big man on campus and popular with peers had a much higher priority than getting good grades. The success of the Soviets in space changed our easygoing attitudes toward learning only a little. Most of us didn't worry about the science gap or Russia's superior education system. We were an overindulged, underpoliticized, apathetic generation of undergraduates. And so passive, one university president said of his 1959 graduating class, "Employers will love this group. They will be easy to handle. There won't be any riots." We listened to the learned educator. And we were very glad to know that our children would continue to be quiet.
I remember in the dark days of the Huskies, some of the same columnists, some of the same radio commentators who are attacking me now and misrepresenting my position were violently opposing me at the time I was after Alger Hiss. But I continued to fight because I knew I was right. And I can say to this great television and radio audience that I have no apologies to the American people for my part in putting Alger Hiss where he is today. And as far as this is concerned, I intend to continue to fight. Why do I feel so deeply? Why do I feel that in spite of the smears, the misunderstanding, the necessity for a man to come up here and bare his soul as I have, why is it necessary for me to continue this fight? And I want to tell you why. Because you see, I love my country. And I think my country is in danger. And I think the only man that can save America at this time is the man that's running for president on my ticket, Dwight Eisenhower.
Children are confused.
Not enough parent supervision.
Far more liberty allowed to the younger generation.
I don't think they respect anybody.
I don't understand them. I had much more fun. I had much more clean fun, wholesome. And it was fun all the way through. I don't consider it dancing at all. It's just shaking your body from...
Syncopated lady always dancing the night away. The Harlem Beats got her. Syncopated lady, she won't give me the time of day. She makes me feel so low, always tapping her toes to the taxi cab.
I don't dance. I think they look very stupid, and you can't tell the difference between a boy and a girl.
They look unkempt,
not to the shoulders and not in curls.
It's just like a lion has a mane. They can't look like a man.
I don't like the long hair, probably because I don't have any.
There are quite a few good songs today, popular songs, but not the type that the Beatles or any of those organizations.
I've never liked them. I understand they're supposed to be good musicians.
That was their thing, as they call it today. They had to have that long hair and something guitars, see, to make a living. Nothing but a rotten luck.
Too much noise.
I don't like the way out fashions.
They don't send me very much.
Oh, they're crazy.
I think it's about time that men started being more colorful. And I think I'd like to move back.
The way it is now is different from the way it was before, or is it? I'm not sure. The way we live now is different. We make love instead of war, or do we? I'm not sure. All I know is there's something in there that never was there. See the arrow-collar man with the prairie flower girl, yeah. Everybody does his thing today, what more can you say? But the way it is now is different, like the way it was before, or is it? I'm not sure.
They're all right. That's the way they want to dress.
I believe that the Bible gives us our social position.
Thank you. I hope to prove worthy of the title of Miss America in 1935.
And that is second to the man. We must always let the man be the head and lead the way and make the decision. Civilization has made a great mistake in giving the woman the right to vote.
It's fine if the women feel that they should be liberated.
The women what?
Well, I think they've had too much already, but if they like it, they should be pushed out and made act like a man and take it like a man.
If she has no children, then she should sort of take up some kind of a hobby.
And I present you with this scepter.
The movies? Well, they've got more bolder. When I was a kid, you didn't see anything. All you seen was cowboy movies.
The movies that used to be underground, of course, are able to...
They just can't compare with the classics of the past.
There's not a decent movie to see.
I remember the time we used to go to the theater there, and half the theater used to cry. Today they're, well, it's different there. They're all more open and, you know, they're more to the fact, let's face it.
Sex.
Well, we can't see any of this filth in the movies.
I think there's too much pornography.
Everything is sex today.
My grandmother wouldn't let me go out the corner look at one of the ads, let alone go to the movies. I really think they're ridiculous.
They seem to emphasize sex a lot, which is a normal thing, according to the way I see things.
No. We pull a good number of stunts ourselves, but not to the extreme that the...
Don't you hit that down there until I'm ready.
Children are going nowadays.
Are you ready?
What we called fun in our time.
Let her go.
Would be rather boredom for the child of today.
Our children have had a great deal of fun, nice, clean fun, just like we did when we were young.
And I am now starting a school to train the children to develop these powers while they are young.
I'd like to be a teenager right now. I think it's wild. Kids are really aware and
kind of a necklace that I made out of chicken bones. Nice. Pretty groovy, huh? Far out? They look out of sight.
Is perfectly wonderful.
Oh, groovy. It's kind of heavy, you know?
Is it?
Yeah,
heavy?
but it's, you know, out of sight.
Yeah.
Doesn't collect light.
And your shoes and what's that material?
Oh, kind of, I don't know, material like.
Oh, yeah.
Found my butt in the store.
Did you? I think you're wonderful, really, I do. You're just wonderful. I love to see you and look at you.
Okay.
Admire you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
The way it is now is different from the way it was before, or is it? I'm not sure. Maybe life is a replay. Maybe life is a replay. Maybe life is a replay. A song you've heard before. La 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 la.
So that was a year after RFD Greenwich Village came out. Some similarities there as far as pushing the brand Arrow or delightful cotton corduroy fashions, and also kind of, I don't know. So Replay was definitely an ad paid for by Arrow Shirt Company, but it was distributed to libraries and other places, and you could rent it and show it because it was talking about the generation gaps. And Charles Strauss, of course, wrote Annie. So Replay has definitely got some proto tomorrow in it, which is hilarious because Replay is talking about the past. Tomorrow is talking about the future. Very, very interesting there, Charles. Thanks for joining us today. Oh yeah, and there were a lot of butts today, but as I pointed out in the comments, if we did a Pampers show where I have a lot of Pampers commercials, you would be amazed how often butts show up in Pampers commercials. There are so many butts. You might say, well, they're baby butts, but no, they're butts. There's a bunch of butts. Okay, I'm not going to say butt anymore. Thanks for watching today. I appreciate your feedback and you watching. If you like what you saw, or at least like the idea of what we were doing here, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. Watch other films on our channel so that Story of Lead doesn't bounce back up in the feed again. I don't know what's going on. Again, YouTube is sharing that film about how lead is mined. And it's getting all this attention. And I'm like, I mean, I make ad revenue off of it, but come on, like I've uploaded like so many more other films. So yeah, watch something else. And share it with your friends. And maybe we can get some of these other films that I've been uploading, get them to go viral instead of Story of Lead. Anyways, if you like what you saw, again, you can also donate via the Super Things button, ko-fi.com/avgeeks, patreon.com/avgeeks. We also have a, a store associated with our channel, and you can just go to the channel, and then you should see a store tab, and you can buy stuff there. That merch that has the AV Geeks logo on it. Thanks for watching. Everybody have a great rest of your day. And we will see you tomorrow. Take care.